Welcome to Living at Your Finest podcast, a podcast devoted to helping women to live at their finest holistic health so that they are empowered to possess their worth, nourish their bodies and spirits, and triumph as health champions. I am your host, Dr. Babalola, aka Dr. Babs. I am a board-certified family physician, health and fitness coach, and the founder of Living at Your Finest company. Have you struggled with your holistic health, spirit, mind, and body? Perhaps you thought you had it all figured out only for it to come tumbling over. Imagine consistently living at your finest health with information that can transform your life and allow you to triumph holistically. Well, search no more. This podcast is just for you. Together we can triumph on this journey of holistic health as my guest and I share lessons learned from our personal health journeys using an exciting holistic approach, fun, fundamental, and faith-based. So I hope you're ready for some fun and candid dialogue. Hey, Living at Your Finest champions, Dr. Babs. Excited to be back with you all as your host for episode 22 on Living at Your Finest podcast. As we begin a series I title Healthfocus Approach. The first in this track is titled The Synergy of 7 Systems. Hope all is well with you, and thank you all for tuning in. So yesterday I was surprised when for the first time I met a patient of mine, and she started off the conversation by saying, "Hey doc, I want to get to the root cause of my problems. I don't want a band-aid. I'm a holistic approach kind of person." And I was like, yay, high five. That's my kind of patient. She's an advocate for herself. She wants to get to the root of the matter. She doesn't just want any treatment, and for many years, and I know that this treatment model is fading out slowly, where we treat diseases and we isolate it from the root cause. So I was really pleased to have her as a patient, and that's the whole goal of this series, is that we get behind the why, behind what is going on, and then we figure out how to fix the what is going on. So that's what we're going to be reviewing. We're also going to review the 7 main pillar systems that function together to help us deliver our finest health and avoids and keeps us away from all those top chronic diseases and disability and ultimately death. So that's the whole goal for today. Even with my own health struggles, it did take me a minute to understand that I need to move from a disease approach mentality to a health approach mentality with a better understanding of how to arrive at optimal health and to work towards it in a proactive manner than in a reactive manner. So I hope you're as excited as I am. All right, we're going to use a fun, fundamental, and faith-based framework to tie it all in so that it's very clear. Now, before we do that, I always like to feature a Living at Your Finest champion of the week. This is someone that strives daily to live at their finest health and wants to encourage listeners to follow the same path that she is. So thank you, Dr. Pastor Folake Mobolaji, for being our Living at Your Finest champion of the week.
Hi, everyone. My name is Folake Mobolaji. I am a family medicine physician. I currently practice at Northside Hospital as a hospitalist, and I'm also a part of the faculty at Morehouse School of Medicine. I'm a mother of 4, and I'm also a pastor of a non-denominational church located in Douglasville, Georgia, Christ the Light Ministries. Like everyone, we have all been impacted with this COVID, and we can only continue to hope in the Lord, who has promised not to leave us nor forsake us. Now, living at my finest, I want to say that I do more of diet than exercise, but I need to do more of the exercise. However, with my diet, I try to stay away from junk food, try to stay away from fried foods. I drink a lot of water, and I also incorporate fasting, which I benefit spiritually as well as physically from that. I believe we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us, and therefore, I just want to encourage everyone, if you put your heart to what you would like to achieve, living in your finest, I believe we can do it. We just have to focus and ask the Lord to give us the strength. And I think we can achieve a healthy lifestyle. Thank you.
Stability is the key to staying healthy and grounded by using the 7 main pillars, all right, that are all interconnected. The imbalance of this system can make the difference between disease state or health state, can make the difference between aging forward or aging backwards, declining, or make the difference between living at your finest or living at your worst. So we need to advocate for our health and have a better understanding of this basic information. And as we live in this temple, our bodies, we need to know what it takes for it to stay strong and healthy for us, right? Same way that we take care of our vehicle, we take care of our houses, our possessions. We need to take care of this one possession that we live in. So we're going to dive into those 7 pillars, all right? I'm going to start off with the first one, which is structural. Structural. I like to talk about structural, and that's the body, the body, the muscles, the bones, the cells, the tissues, the tendons. That's what keeps us standing. That's what keeps us rooted on solid ground. All right. I love this quote by Lily Singh that says you need a really solid foundation. All right. You need a really solid foundation that would keep you where you need to be, that would get you where you need to be. And this our friends and family that represents our muscles, our bones, our tissue. And Psalm 11 verse 3 says, if the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? So we need a sure, firm foundation to be able to do our daily bitings, to do the things that we need to do. And what are those things that can support us? Definitely limiting stress, eating healthier foods, exercising, building healthy relationships. Self-care is so important. So we're going to dive in a lot further into those in the following weeks. Second pillar that keeps us connected in the health-focused approach is our digestive tract. Our digestive tract is so important. You know, I used to think the brain was the most important, that we can't live without the brain, but actually the digestive system is actually the twin of the brain. The reason is because majority of our immune system is developed in the gut system. So it has to be healthy enough to sustain us. Whenever we eat from our mouth all the way down to the anus, it's digesting, right? So we need to give it the right food. It has to have the right bacterial flora. And when we talk about good flora, that's the bacteria that helps to digest food. If it's poor bacteria, then everything leaks. You probably heard of leaking gut. So it's like a door shield. You put the protection, and if that protection has holes, not only are you letting things in, you're letting things out. So we need to be mindful of the GI tract. Very important. I'm sure you've heard of someone saying, I have a gut feeling. So they work together interchangeably. The third pillar that we need to be aware of is our immune system. Our immune system is so important, especially in this season that we're in, COVID-19. We have to have a strong inflammatory system. They're like our police guards, that keep us safe and keeps us away from invaders. Again, they're produced mostly in the gut, so we need to keep them armed. We need to give them the food that they need. We don't want to feed them things that will make them weak, or we don't want to give them too much work to do, overload. So let's say they're working so hard to get rid of things that we put in our body that are toxic. So when the real virus comes around, they don't have any energy because you worn them out by eating the things that the body has rejected as food. So all the processed foods, carbonated drinks, all the things that are not used for the body, they see it as an invader. And so they're busy fighting that. So we need to make sure that we feed it with healthy foods. And we'll talk more about things that we can do in the coming weeks that will help with that. Energy system, so important. We are energy beings. There's a quote that says that the energy of our mind is in the essence of life. So we generate energy in everything that we do, and it's supported by the mitochondria. I would say the energy creating organism in our cells. So if we don't have that well supported, we cannot do anything. It's like a vehicle that doesn't have the right foil. What happens? It's no matter how nice it looks on the outside, fancy color, nice smell inside, it's not going to transport you from one place to the other. So we need to give it the right foods, anti-inflammatory foods, a healthy balanced meal with fruits and veggies, proper hydration. All of that is important. Now we're coming to the last three. Communication system. Communication is so important. For me, this is a way of communicating to you through the video. We have a phone, we have emails. So there's a communication system in our body. A communication system consists of our hormones, consists of our neurotransmitters. They transmit information. So when the brain is like, oh, she's reached puberty, then the hormones are like, okay, let's start secreting, let's do our thing. When it's time to have a baby, oh, okay, it looks like she's pregnant. Well, let's support her. Let's get her. So they are always communicating with each other. We need to feed it the right food so that the communication is done the right way through these hormones and neurotransmitters. Very, very important that we provide the healthy lifestyle that supports that function well. Transportation system, as the word implies, transport. What is being transported? Blood, the oxygen in the blood. It's needed for us to have the energy. Of course, the mitochondria is the energy containing organism, but the transportation system is how the blood flows in the vessels. If you look at your limbs, you might see some permanent vessels. So that's our transportation system. The lymphatic system also transports all the the immune cells. So if the lymphatic system is stagnant, you find out that there's swelling occurring. There's a lot of discomfort. So we need to make sure that that is in a healthy state to be able to do the work that is required of it. You don't want to be all blue all over. You don't want to have lack of energy because you don't have oxygen flowing to the proper places. So you just have carbon dioxide instead of excelling excreting that out. So very important. We will talk in the coming weeks systems that we can embed that would definitely keep us healthy. The last system, or not the least, I should say, detoxification system. This is the system that eliminates waste from our bodies. All right, with the excretion system being the most common one. It's the biggest of them all. So that's our urine, our stool. The skin is the largest excretion system. So whenever we exercise or we do anything vigorous, that a lot of things come out through our skin, the electrolytes. That's why we always have to replenish. So this is a detoxification system that we need to be aware of. It helps to get rid of all the waste and toxins that are in our body. Sometimes, I find that if I've eaten a whole bunch of crap, lots of sugar, which I'm working on, and we should all work on together, is I begin to have acne. I begin to have all sorts of breakout in my skin. So we need to pay attention that when we're having these symptoms, they're not occurring in isolation. We need to get back to the root of the issue. And then when we do all these detoxification systems, we need to not go back to status quo of reintroducing all the toxins back into our bodies. So these are the systems that I want us all to be familiar with, the 7 main system-based approach to ensuring that we are healthy and that we're living at our finest health, and that they're collaborating, interconnected systems that are in there that helps us to fight any form of infection. All right. I hope the information I've shared has been presented in a fun and fundamental way for easy understanding. It's paramount for us to understand that it's very vital that they all work together. What we eat goes a long way to affect our GI, goes a long way to affect our immune system, goes a long way to affect our transportation, our transport, our detoxification system, and of course, ultimately our structure. So we want to live at our finest health. So this is where we're going to dive into each of these systems in the coming week. I hope that you would return with me as we discover how these systems all work together and how we can do our own part to be proactive instead of reactive. So until next time, on Live Not Your Finest podcast, remember, together we can triumph as health champions because we need to, we deserve to, and we most certainly can achieve to live at our finest holistic health. Thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode of Living at Your Finest podcast. My hope is that as you have been informed, you would be transformed to take actionable steps to triumph at living at your finest health and personal development. For more in-depth content on best practices to ensure that you live at your finest daily, join me on Facebook and YouTube at Living at Your Finest with Dr. Babs, where we can learn together. You know, my favorite hashtag healthier together. See you soon. Take care and God bless.